I think we should be green on all streaming platforms. So, hello 2022, first stream of the year after last year's surprising ending, Omicron. And today I got my third dose, so we'll see how this stream goes. It might be a short one, 2-3 hour long, but I'm excited to get started again with the streams. We have plenty to do, especially with the weather system. So just a quick recap. Uh, this was like a month ago. I was able to parse more of the historical weather data for Toronto, and I've been working on the Node.js bunch of like files that actually process data into a usable format for me. And if I recall, to find might actually be the code run here. Yeah. So we are displaying the historical data in the appropriate fields. If I recall, the cloudiness is not patched yet, but everything else is kind of done. This tendency is right now 0 or 1, meaning it's either rising or falling. And I think there's going to be a third value, but that's a minor detail. I think today what I would like to focus on is just a prototype, just to feel excited about this. When the temperature is appropriate, or it's the it's the accurate temperature for having snow, right conditions, we should have snow. Speaking of which, this is what we had on Monday, a snowstorm. So if possible in the game, if we could create areas where we have snow piled, sort of like leaning against vertical surfaces, and we have wind, like there's snow coming down, the wind is blowing it away, but also we have snow accumulated on rooftops that's also blown away. So this is a good test case. So if you could simulate this sort of January Toronto weather, which was, like I said, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, then it will be exciting. So let's have this as a test case. Of course, our camera angle won't be like this. We'll look at it from a more diagonal, sort of like sort of isometric. But you know what I mean. It's as if like we are on rooftop looking down. So that's our test case. So speaking of which, we have Dave's backyard as a sort of map or level. This gets loaded into the game as a level. So there's a level container. I'm trying to remember things that I did a while ago. So this is the game. We have a level container which loads Dave's backyard. So this scene has environment and camera. That's why Dave's backyard looks unlit, because there's no light source here. That's actually coming here, part of the separate system here. So let's run this one. I want to remember what I did. This is from, yeah, this is the code that has to be cleaned up. I'm guessing that this is part of the HUD, which is including a bunch of context menus. Normally this kind of thing should not really give it. It's like, why is water confirmed? Some shortcuts had to be taken back then for preparing stuff for conferences, and now we are doing it kind of again from like with a better architecture. Speaking of which, Google, yep. This one. So this is the system we are working on. We have to get rid of. We have to bypass this area. I want to fix this. This is a whole other structure about water dynamics. Like this goes into this area. But today I want to focus on these two branches here, which visual effects and sound effects possible. So knowing we should be able to see it. Now, how can I bypass that? Because if I run this UI test, then I have to bring in visual stuff here. Then on the side of the problem, right? So I have something visual. Okay. What is the problem? The past arguments type plant doesn't match. The function this is expecting something spatial, yeah. I think I'm going to comment out this whole block. I mean, even if I had to refactor this, I would put one if block with water type, right? Under if water type, then you would have to check for each one of these. And this sort of doesn't make sense. This acts like enum. Yeah. And if it's not 0, in other words, this doesn't make. Yep. This is something that could go into those books where they say, well, you're going to write code. It should be understandable easily. Water confirm. Another interesting question is, who is calling this? Water confirm. Put a breakpoint here. Start game again. I want to see the oh, there's no stack here, like it's empty. It's just, how is this called by itself? Are you a singleton? change the tune a bit. Action context, action context. Trellis context skeleton. Clips HUD context menu. Okay, this is how it's going to happen. We'll write a to do here. Type it as character. Just return here. Did you return here? Why do you? Oh, it doesn't compile at all. So, okay. It's not like something is calling. It's not even running. And something is calling and failing. It's not even compiling. That's the problem. So, selected plant. So, apparently this is not spatial. What is selected plant anyway? It's a plant. Oh, because this plant is now a game object, plantoid has become spatial immediate, which should not be here. Okay, this is sort of a stupid refactoring. And then we'll have, well, first stream of the year, but we already have 2 candidates to be blocked. Because they are spamming the chat. Stupid URLs. Plant icon, plant. Selected. Plant icon. Yeah, I don't want to do this but I might. I don't know where it's mentioned plant in all the instances there. But okay, we have something going on here. So we do have this working. And we have the level also working. So we have something visual. We could now simulate snow if this really is appropriate. I think we do that by changing the date to the 10th day of the year. Yeah, and it should be in this. Yeah. This is cold enough, and we will assume it's going to snow, and then maybe create particle effects for them. On that note, I want to investigate stuff here that I've seen. There's weather system. There's also weather. Because this is a big mess. I don't know which one is doing what. Because I also remember just recently, like looking here, in here, right? In one of those to-dos on water. Yeah, like say watering plant Vfx Resource scene. So this is actually a context menu, if I recall. It's just a script, but this was attached to something that actually had UI elements. But the script itself is also accepting Vfx resources in the inspector here, so that is kind of awkward. So if I look for skeleton, there is context skeleton. This is the scene. Yeah. What is this? There is context skeleton. Yes. This is to be able to see it here. Thing doesn't add up. Thing doesn't add up here. That's just the header. This manages the UI itself. Careless context skeleton. Scripts HUD context menu. For bool var block buttons. Time to grab some water. And maybe on my way back I will be finding reason why these export variables are not exposed to the interface. Curious about that. Maybe I'm not going to investigate this missing part here. And the problem is, I do remember having a visual some rain system and a snow system, and whether they are part of this or not is the question, because I don't want it to kick in at a very unexpected time. So I guess we'll have to figure it out. The thing is, a lot of this is going to go away. It's not going to matter. So let's assume, first of all, let's make game as the F5. The run is no longer weather effects, because we have a scene like that, right? Weather effects. We can actually run. No, not like that. This is something that I created to simulate this 6. Yeah, this is just a basic UI here, and this component, which is inside here. Yeah, normally this is going to be part of a bigger HUD. Is this, but most likely a lot of this will hit. Like, for example, this weather here is scaring me. Whether this is just the UI itself or this has some other parts, I have no idea. Anyway, we will make game is here. We will do F5. So here it is. This is open. Why is it open? Because in game, let's actually close everything else, close other tabs. In HUD, I believe we have this, this which is enabled in the middle here, which is okay. So we could, I think, close it. I believe we have that script running, so that's. And to open it again, I think it was this, which might be detached right now. So let's see. I don't know what this system is doing now. And this is top panel. So weather button, weather. I don't think it actually has a signal assigned or attached either, so maybe it was removed. I remember having that attached, but anyway. For example, when this is clicked, going to speed mode pressed, all these three are sending some parameter to either fast or super fast, that kind of thing. They all go to this top. Speed mode pressed. Yeah, there used to be, they're hidden now. Yeah, these debug buttons here for simulating thunder and whatever. So we'll maybe have those, but pushed into some other interface. Either way, this should bring up the weather. So for the time being, instead of remembering how this is actually using the UI stack, I think I kind of remember how it was using the UI stack. You say, give me, turn on a new UI panel, which is adding it to the stack. Just going to type the code here, shamelessly. Yeah, there is UI stack. There is vector stack. Now you pass the stack, the UI into the stack. There's that. There is actually, let's see, singleton, and then yeah, and now you fire UI push. So we are just pushing. So you just commit, like say, you just trigger an event. You say we are going to push a UI to the stack, which internally calls this, pushes the new UI to the back of the stack. And of course it enables that. Which means that those UI panels are actually always part of the scene. They are not displayed. Their position is not handled here. They're handled by themselves or some other. Which brings me to this point that in the HUD, this weather system, I recall this is sort of automatically positioned, right? And then I removed it. So let me just push this around. For example, I move this here and then we run the game. We should actually have it here. Good. So now when we actually come here and rotate our camera and such, if we want to see the snow piling up, we'll actually see that. So we are moving the time forward fast, now normal speed. Oh, I made the speed go 1 hour. Every second is an hour. Yeah. One thing that is not happening is the sun's kind of does, but it's still following the minute values because I'm forcing this. Anyway, the visual effects system should take into account these values. That's what we could simulate. Speaking of which, environments rating. This is a particle system. Simply particles. Particle system is what it's called in Unity. So how do we simulate it here? Okay, this scene is open. Let me look at the other stuff here. There's this resource. This looks awfully similar to this. I'm drawing and such. Let me see. No, this is different. This is just a material, particles material, which is used here as a IC. raining. This I remember there was medium rain or low rain, high rain, the amount of rain. Let's look at snow. Just like raining, there is a particle system that is using snow particle material. We cannot really visually simulate it here, can we? We do. I see something. Yeah, there is some stuff here. Wait a minute. Yeah. Kind of look dark. Maybe the amount is okay, let's look at rain. This is a script. Rain amount. Let's do this 800. I think this doesn't really correlate to this. Maybe once it's running. Let's do the same thing for snow. Yeah, I can see some particles coming down. So we could either work on this or ignore it. Essentially what we are trying to do here in this file. So let's look at our plan here. So here's an interesting architecture question. When we have Dave's backyard as its own scene, we consider it as a level. And now we load it into a level container. Should environment be part of the level? Right now it isn't. And by environment we understand that it's the sun. Oh, here is the raining and snow. So apparently this is attached to the environment. That's going back to the original question. Is the environment part of the map, or is the environment a separate system like this? Which looks like it actually has a camera system here, but there's a separate camera system here outside the environment. Inside the environment, this camera is Doing what exactly? Oh, this is about calculating the shadows of the plants, which should not be here actually. Yeah, that should not be here. It's a dynamic system. Will keep changing when the player puts more plants in the garden, and the garden conditions are changing based on what the neighbors are doing, that kind of thing. If certain areas are getting more or less shadow during a particular year, I mean, it sounds like it's an environmental problem, but it's architecture wise, perhaps. So that's why camera is out. Taking the question to the next step and looking at here. If we had to write an environment node here, like should there be a separate environment here? On. We do have level here. It's like map. So when you're playing in Toronto, you could be playing multiple scenarios where the layout of the garden is different. Maybe we will play an industrial site scenario, or maybe like a schoolyard scenario. You are doing urban farming in the backyard of a school, school lunch program, that kind of thing. Um, although the city is still Toronto. So that's why current weather and level are two separate systems. They kind of correlate at some point. Question. What's the next question? Let's go to, was it flat icon? Maybe we'll get inspired. It will actually trigger the creative juices. I believe I logged in. Take me to your leader. Yeah. Okay. What do we understand by the word environment here? Now that I look here, sort of green, cherished, looked after, that kind of thing. It's definitely not these two. This is just a game system. Weather is part of the environment as far as physical world goes. In this environment, in this geography, we have this kind of weather. That's the reality. As far as a game system goes, the way we have labeled it so far, besides this sunlight map, and this is just a light probe, what do we have? Which acts like visual effects, these two particles. We have the cloud casting shadows, such. And this pivot is registering the sun and moon. And this is the visual layer, which is responsible for having this blue sky and this ground color. The reason why I'm discussing this is because run the game and let's move the camera around. For example, we are minding our own business here in this part of the garden. Okay? And now we come here and we do some stuff here. Fine. While we are doing all this, there's a bug. Once I use the zoom in, it's kind of locked. This is the highest zoom. Anyway, imagine I'm going a little bit far away. You won't have that much room or place to travel to. You're going to be kind of limited to a short distance around your house. It's not like your house will be here and you'll be visiting the rest of the neighborhood. But the question is, unless this is a very big level where the big factory or like schoolyard, whatever, but even in that case, I think being in one end of the map, a few minutes later, when the camera moves to the other end of the map, there isn't going to be much difference between. There shouldn't be much difference between the way it's raining, it's snowing, whether you hear the thunder or the splash of like raindrops, that kind of thing. So it should be kind of universal enough wherever you are in that. So it is part of that environment. So in a sense, the camera's movement is confined to the size of the level. Some of these things are not quite interchangeable, but sort of like they relate to each other. Like your environment is kind of your level, which is affecting how far the camera will go. And then this is going to be displaying stuff limited by how far the camera will go, and then the sounds you will hear. The reason why I'm actually making all this like making the distinction between these separate units is because sound is actually a perfect example. If I'm here and there's a sound source, you want to hear the thunder, right, approaching. In real life, you will think that, oh, okay, it's going to rain soon because, hey man, I got sick, man, over the holidays. I only recently recovered. I think I got Omicron. So yeah, it sucked. I was planning to take it easy and actually have some rest. Thank you. Welcome back from dead. Yes. How have you been? Brain is still fuzzy. Like I'm still slowly recovering. I'm not at my 100% yet, but I hope you've been doing well. Acid grind. Cool. It's been more than a month, yeah, since the last stream. So maybe you made a lot of progress. I haven't seen your streams either. I haven't caught up yet. You were sculpting human body, which you showed there was great progress between two versions. That's what I remember before holidays. A lot of assets. Cool. Maybe if you send me a link, I'll just show it during the stream. Boost to your channels. Chairs and tables. Oh, there's something in the background that's. Oh boy. Let me stop the game. Something has been screaming in the background. Yeah, there's a lot of shit. Meanwhile, thinking, and I'm also waiting for a link from Anglo. Here it is. Let's look at it. Ooh. Starboard Rogue. Is this the name of your game or some kind of like a coffee shop? Blender EV render, yeah. Yeah, rolling heads. This looks cool. I like the depth. Yeah, that's the trouble I have actually, or I will have soon. With Blender and Godot, how to replicate the visuals. The France game. One thing that is obvious that I see is the feet are not exactly snapped. You can actually see the gap and the shadow. My OCD brain goes there, but the shot looks cool. Trouble is waiting here. First-person shooter. Get the next one. Ah, yes. There, it's shadows. Yeah, yeah. I have that offset problem too in Godot. Kind of, I know the objects are aligned, but the shadow is not starting where the objects meet. There's a contact bias. Nice. Is this intentional, this part in the mirror? could be a rendering issue, but it's as if this is what my brain thinks about it. It's like, well, this is part of the game where sort of reality is distorted, that this is what we think we see, but I don't know, it's sort of digitally some kind of projection here. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Screen space reflections getting weird. It's as if sort of like you know, matrix, like this is an illusion. The mirror is not reflecting. Mirror is sort of reflecting the real reality, not the perceived reality. But kind of looked interesting in that sense. Besides some lighting problems, this looks cool to you. It isn't made for making. Yeah, mirrors could be difficult. Cool stuff though. Okay. Is this some kind of like adventure too? Like adventure, like you find stuff, solve puzzles, you investigate the drawers. Yeah. Yeah, that's screen space reflections, as you said. Drawers, let's just say I want the option run over. Yeah. Whether you do something with them or not. Yeah. What was that game? I mean, it's been more than a decade now. They introduced physics, like you pull objects, you rotate things. They even made like sequels, something with pigs, ambient or descent. Forgot. Brain is really fuzzy. Details. I forgot my phone number today. I remember this bully guy. The door prefab script. I do remember this guy with the blade hands. Cool stuff. Yeah, so what was the game though? Let me look it up on Steam. Why do I want to type ambient? I type pig. Let's go with pig. Just the games. It's a horror game. Can we actually do the tag? Amnesia. Okay, found it. So that's the main menu background. So messing more with shit like volumetric program. You mean this one? This is the main menu background. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I remember games back in the day, like say you would have the menu options here and this bad guy walking to one end of the screen and then going behind menu. Things like that. That always look cool. It's as if you were already in the game. Yeah. Instead of a flat screen and just like text, something like an animation running in the background. So yeah, the physics thing that I was thinking about was in this game, or at least in the original game. Maybe they repeat it here too. Yeah. So if I recall, you could pick objects and then sort of drag them freely, and then they would rotate. That there's some physics involved. Well, these screenshots won't convey that message, but that's what I thought with the drawers. Because I think in that game, you didn't just click the drawer to pull it all the way out. You had to click and drag it towards yourself, or you had to move your character to the back to pull the drawer out. You rigged up a moon spotlight. Volumetric. Ah, I see. So you're experimenting. Oh. Why is this still asking me? Oh, this is all screen. Okay. Cool stuff. Yeah, nice. I'm still pretty much where you left me off like last time, a month ago. Small scale level, yeah. I mean, yeah, imagine this guy chasing you. If you have a chance to run forward but turn your head back and look at the guy, this guy is coming down the hallway. Learn to love him. Learn to love him, respect him, hate him. Feeling afraid of him. Cool. Enjoy the food. So I was asking myself a bunch of questions without enough answers. I think what I was asking myself was, if I'm here, I'm not gonna mess up with the zoom right now. If I want to simulate thunderstorm or lightning or any kind of sound effect related to the weather, it's approaching from one end of the world to the other end of the world. Imagine the storm is coming this way and going to move away from the house over half an hour. We are going to have to put an object here that's emitting sound. We are going to have, I think in Unity it's called audio listener, but either way I think it's called audio here. Yeah, one of these things. Positional sound, that's what I'm trying to say. So that you have a sound effect that actually has a position. So if you have decent speakers, and most people these days they do, you will notice if the sound is coming directly from across, or if it's coming from this angle or this angle. So that's what positional sound means. You know the position of the sound. If it's coming from behind you and then going this way. The reason why this matters, as far as the scene structure goes, it's about where I put the object in the world and whether I change the position to approach the camera. because this is not the camera I'm talking about, but this is the camera I'm talking about. When I'm here in this camera angle, this is gonna here, okay? So if I'm going to have a game object here that's emitting sound, I should be moving the position towards the camera so that the player should feel like the sound is approaching them. Then they will know whether condition is stable or not, is getting worse, that sort of thing. Similarly, I don't know how similarly can we assume the same conditions, but for example, rain. We will have a particle system, maybe right above here, right? But I mean, how wide should it be? And we have different angles here, like say it's raining this way, maybe tomorrow it's raining this way, and then it's raining slowly or a lot more, that kind of thing. We should be changing the particle systems properties, and then there's also this kind of investigation. But I'm not sure if we should change the position of this guy, although it has a position. I'm not sure if that particle effect particle system should be existing here and then moving towards the camera. That may stay the same, but we will have to alter the properties here. But I'm kind of confident that with the audio, we will have to move it around to create that directional. I'm just going to primitively put here this thing. And then, of course, there's the good old question, what is the difference between audio stream player and audio stream player 3D? The answer is this is non-positional. As far as I know, this is like you start with the non-positional, then this is inheriting from here, which also has positional information, but in 2D space. This is what most people use in 2D games. And this is what you use in 3D space, but both have positions. So let's create this one and look at the help. Then I think I was wrong about one thing though. This is not inheriting from audio stream player. Just that one doesn't have position data. Yeah. So I was wrong about the inheritance, but the other information is still correct. The 2D and the 3D version of audio stream player, they have position property. Not exactly the playback position, that's where the timeline is. But this has the Doppler effect, sort of sound drop off or attenuation, that kind of thing. Yeah, attenuation model. You're back. Enjoy the food. I might have to bail out at some point and then eat something too. Let's see. I got back from vaccination and I didn't want to delay the streams any longer, but I might have to cut it short today. So yeah, we have this audio stream player. So where do we put this in the world is the question. So maybe we should do a simple test here. Because the folder structure is still a mess. Let's assume it's raining. There. Going to put this on hold. I think the rain sound should be coming. Yeah, I'm confident the stream is hearing. Okay. So this is the rain. We move this thing away. Kind of heard the difference. Or still logarithmic. Might be more dramatic. I am considering it done so that I can move forward to this visual layer. It's not 100% done, but done good enough that to keep my sanity, I assumed it was done. Speaking of which, I actually want to look at it. That's actually an interesting system, really. Geography. I think it was this one, and then I ended up creating the using this system. I was exporting it into the proper folder, which ended up in data. Whether this is the one, is December 4th. This weird file. But anyway, this is actually working because that is giving all these accurate results. So it's done good enough that I have reliable data. I'm still not accounting for the end of months correctly, or whether it's leap year or not. It's good enough. So at least it's continuous enough that it's not coming from -10 to like +20. So there's a very good gradual change, and there are just a few days off here and there. But I will fix that later. And I had the most basic case where, like, if it hits 10 degrees, I have a seedling here that goes into a little bit like young plant stage. That's a whole other system where this is going to change plants. So this is going to handle itself accordingly. So I didn't want to get into this area. I just want to finish this fully by at least representing the visual, like visually or sound effect wise. More sellable way. What was I doing here? Let's do autoplay. And let's do playing. Are you playing? Play? Huh. Actually, it's playing. Let me move it close to the camera. Why are we not hearing anything? If I manually play it, I do. Playing autoplay. You know, some of this stuff looks new to me, or I don't remember it much because I always played with the 2D version. Huh. I'm going to, this is very close to the camera. Let's run it again. In case that was far enough. Where the camera is sort of over the house, right? Pretty much. That's where the camera is, right there. Pretty much there. I should be able to hear something. Oh, there it is. So it was just far enough. Interesting. There's no effect if it's set to 0. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's see. It is my theory. You look at it from the side. The camera is right there. So the sound here is very close to the camera. If I move this away in this direction, the game is running in the background. The sound stopped. Sort of halfway still stopped. Can barely hear it. Can hear it more. It's probably not coming to the stream because I already dimmed the desktop sound. But yeah, you should hear it more now. And I'm going to amplify the desktop sound so you guys can. So there is definitely a position constraint here, or concern. Let's stop this. Let's just play the audio file by itself, which is way louder here. So this is like the pure sound. Here it's still affected by this short distance. However short it looks, this still looks like maybe 1. That's where his Godot units go. I see. See, higher values make the sound audible over a larger distance. I'm going to play this again. And I'm going to multiply this. Okay, see, it's louder. 4. So making this so having higher values here didn't increase the loudness level beyond a certain number. 1 is definitely dim, high enough. 2 is 3 is, I think 3 doesn't make much difference. Between 2 and 3 there's no difference. Definitely 1 and 2 is difference. Let's dB unit dB. But yeah, it's getting quieter as it. So this is what I was thinking. Okay, this is good because I can have thunder stream player approaching the camera, and then or the rain, and now moving away. See, I'm wearing headphones, and here the left earphone is giving me better result. Here, if I change it, it's more on the right ear. There's definitely a directional data used. Other top. Oh, there's the cloud system, right? Yeah. Okay, there you go. So here's the camera. Here's there you go. Now we are going away in this direction. Okay, I can attest to the fact that this is definitely directional, and a big part of this the realism will be based on these values, which I have no idea how to combine, get the best result. This is just a project in itself. Speaking of which, if we have multiple sound effects, one for thunder, one for rain, and then there's wind, so recap time. I was thinking possibly 6 months ago to have some kind of audio manager that would play audio files when go play this one for this, which assume to have maybe one player to play multiple things, but that is no longer a valid idea. We need multiple players for different sound effects. At the very least, these players, or this, by players I mean this kind of player, okay? We could have multiple of them inside a game object like this, a node. You could imagine all these as a separate audio player, and then this one is the wind, and next one is the thunder, that kind of thing. Then we could actually say, well, go play the appropriate one, change its position, animate it from here to here, and that is maybe just responsible for the weather effects, that kind of thing. That could be a separate audio player for the music and players' actions. You are harvesting crops, you are digging soil, that kind of thing. I mean, maybe altogether they are part of the same game object structure. So that's that. Now, similarly, these two guys. I remember these two working at some point. These numbers, I remember something about them. And this one is working to a certain extent that I see. Yeah, okay. So these two things, they don't have to be positioned. Their positions sort of matter, but then they don't. They can always be positioned over the house. They don't need to be moved closer and closer to have the visual impact. Yeah, we definitely have to check the attenuation. It's dropping off very quickly. We'll see. That's a whole other investigation. Maybe it has something to do with this too. I think it makes sense that we need two separate systems here that now it makes sense. Next time I might. Let's take these two things, put them inside Vfx system, and the sound effect is its own magnet. So I don't think we have anything Vfx here yet. Seems, I doubt there's this stuff which is my custom stuff. There's Vfx here. I can only imagine. I can only imagine the madness here. Let's type snow. I think I already have the snow. Vfx there. Cancel this. Okay. Some file links ended up in this. Okay. I kind of remember this. This was sort of dropping water down, right? Oh, this is when we place a structure as sort of mini particle explosion effect. Planting particle. Looks feeble, but it's there. This watering thing is dropping some particles, blue particles from. So these are all separate things, but this is a horrible spelling. But and I think this is the missing link that I was looking at. Here, watering trellis Vfx resource. Some of these should be, yeah, except I couldn't see them here. And let's look at this one. If you look here, I bet we'll see this one is using a. Okay, this has not been saved to the file system. These two have been, they are being used by these guys. This one. Yeah. This snow looks cool. Then you say off, and there is the time, lifetime to the eventual dance, 10 seconds. If you do the rain, yeah, I think I see some flickering here. This GI probe is in there. Yeah. I think the particles are going down too fast for us to see. So, yeah, we'll maybe change the size of this is a whole investigation, a whole other layer of investigation. Well, I think I'm going to sign off while it's still raining in the background. I'm going to stream more often, longer, but this is the first of the year, and since I got my third shot today, I also would like to rest and collect my energy next days and then stream. Most likely Saturday, no promise though. That's it for today, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.